Welcome to Quick Basics, Building a Search with a Concept Chart. In the previous video, we learned about Boolean operators, but how do you find the things to link with those operators? I like to use the Boolean matrix, where you break your thoughts down into individual concepts. What are you looking for? And you work at them in individual columns. You can also do it in Word. So our first concept's barriers or challenges or problems. The second concept is obesity or obese. The third concept is school or schools or elementary or junior high or high school. Any variation on the similar topics. So next we're going to visualize this. So you can kind of see this broken down as well. So here we have our topic. Does a low-fat or low-carb diet show better results for type 2 diabetes patients? So how would we start? We look for the terms we know, obviously the terms we can see in our topic. Maybe we would do a quick search with just low fat and type 2 and see if we found any other articles. Perhaps we already had a gold standard article that we wanted to work from. Look to see if there are additional terms and then begin to build your search matrix. Just a quick note, this section mentions controlled vocabulary. For more information about this concept, watch our Quick Basics Search Tips video. So you can see here, our first concept is type 2 diabetes, and we have type 2 diabetes, which is the free term. And then we have the MESH, which is the PubMed controlled vocabulary. So this is how, like I said earlier, they specifically tag this particular topic. The next column we have is concept 2, which is our first intervention. So we have low carbohydrate diet, the free term. We have diet carbohydrate restricted, the MESH, the controlled vocabulary term. That's our second column. Our third is low fat, same thing. We have our general free term, and then we have our controlled vocabulary. As you can see at the bottom, an example of what the search looks like, where we have ORed all of our type 2 diabetes terms in one. The next, we have ORed all of our low carbohydrates, and then the next, the low fat. And the final thing we did was ANDed them all together to find the place that all three of those concepts intersect in an article. Your first search is never going to be your final search most of the time. So go look at some abstracts. Did you find any additional terms? Have you found any mesh terms? Is there anything else you want to add to this search? And then run the search again. So we can see here, our first concept didn't really change. There's no other variations we want to use for this. Concept 2, we came across Mediterranean diet, which is a very, very common low carbohydrate diet. So here we can see we added the free term, and it had a controlled vocabulary term. So we've added the MESH term. And we also decided that even though in our head it might read a little as slang, low carb diet showed up in an article or two, or maybe more. And so we want to make sure that we include that to gather any articles that might have phrased it that way. Concept 3, we didn't find any new terms, but we did realize that we had forgotten to put in the free term of the controlled vocabulary. So that way we're making sure that we get fat restricted, both ones that have already had the tagging applied, and then any that may not have been tagged yet, or just will never be tagged. That way we make sure we have both of them as part of our synonyms. And we would run the search again, see what our results are. Perhaps this is the cleanest search we're going to get. If the search is complete, at this point, you can apply any filters and start looking at your search results.